Hey everyone, welcome back. So in the last episode, I was talking about how I felt this cab was really inaccurate. Some of you guys had mentioned that as well, and had decided to embark on a mission to make this cab from scratch so that it would be a little bit more accurate than the one that I'm holding in my hand. And as you were able to see by the thumbnail for this video, I did do just that. I've created another cab out of brass, and it was definitely a challenge to do. It's not perfect, and I learned a lot, but I'd like to go over the process that I took. So the first thing I did was I took this cab and I ended up making measurements of all the windows all the way around and measurements of the side of the cab, basically all the parts that I was going to remake out of brass. I then transferred those measurements over to an art program, one that I've mentioned before. It's called Inkscape. It's a freeware program that anybody can get. I'm sure they take donations, and I'll most definitely be donating to their cause because it's a really good vector drawing program that allows you to create some really accurate drawings that you can scale up and down, make smaller, bigger, whatever you want, and they don't change, they don't get pixelated out, they stay nice and crisp. So I created a bunch of different templates using various angles, again using the measurements from the model and then changing, like making this part a little bit shorter and this part a little bit longer to kind of change that angle so that I can change the way that this angle falls into shape. Then I was able to take and test them out in a large size like this so that I can see if I was happy with the measurement, and then I was able to take something like a compass and measure them out against the real cab, or I should say the die-cast cab, and just make sure that I was getting close to what I wanted. Once I got that all drawn up, I transferred it over to my program that I use to set up all the what are called G codes for my CNC machine. And when I cut these out, I decided to make little grooves in the back of the brass so that it would make it easier for me to bend this. So this brass is about 0.64 millimeters thick, and I put in 0.3 millimeter cuts so that I can take and bend the top parts of the cab and get these really nice clean bends out of it. These are super fragile, and I actually did accidentally bend one. For the bottom part of the cab, I created that out of a separate piece and I soldered that on. It's not perfectly straight on this side. It kind of drops down a little bit, but I tinkered with this thing for a good half hour trying to mock it up to solder it together, and honestly that was the best that I think I was able to get out of it. But there are a lot of angles going on here, so for a first try I'm pretty pleased with it. I will sand the bottom of this a little bit flatter, and then this little piece of overhang that's over here on this side, that will go adios, so I can shore it up. And the engraving tool also allowed me to engrave in where the windows are going to open up, and also, well, they're not actually going to open up, but where they would open up, and then also the door. I'm not going to make an opening door on this. I don't like the way that it looks. Oh man, I was holding that upside down the whole time. Sorry guys. I don't like the way it looks. It would be one thing if I could get like micro little hinges in there so that it could open like to scale the way it really would. But the only way I'd be able to actually make it do it is with pin hinges. And by doing that, it creates a huge void right there as the door opens. And I just don't think that it's worth the time. The result I just am not interested in. So I want to leave it like this. But overall, I think it looks really good. I like the level of detail, and there are going to be other projects down the road where I'm going to be making cabs. There's going to be a couple loaders, maybe a wheeled dozer, and I'm going to need to be able to create some accurate cabs for those. And so this is definitely painted the way forwards, or paved the way forwards for me to do that. The next step on this would be to create the back of the cab, and then to create the roof. And then I need to create the rollover protection for it as well. And then it will sit on a base that will attach to the top of this frame. So there's going to be like a frame piece that comes out this way, and then there's one that sits in the back, which the cab will rest on. And then the rollover protection, I believe I'm going to go with it's probably attached to the frame as well, because I mean it would be dumb to attach it to this part, because if it rolled over, it's just going to, this is going to give much sooner than this would give. So I don't know if any of you guys have access to schematics or anything, and can hit me up with that stuff. That would be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, I'll just wing it and figure it out. But I think that is about it for this episode. That was about a week and a half's worth of work, I think, working on it intermittently after work, and then getting a little bit of work done on the weekend as well. But I'm super happy with it. If you guys are curious how I'm going to go about doing windows, I'll cover that possibly on the next episode, or the episode after that. But that's going to be a very very delicate process. But I've got some ideas on how to get it done. But yeah, I'm really happy that I decided to embark on trying to get this done, because the results are pretty darn good. Again, they'll only get better. The next cab that I do will be even better than this one, but I'm overall real stoked with it. Anyways, guys, you have a great week, and I will see you on the next one.